In the last few months, I have been working on several new learning programs that have been offered to individuals directly. And I have been sending out messages related to these programs to everyone in my network. One of my friends who received this message wrote back to me and said, "Are you doing this for school children?" And I said, "No, this is primarily targeted at professionals like you, and I don't have a version of this for school kids right now. Let me know when you plan to do this for school children," he wrote back. I asked him, "What about you? Would you not be interested in doing this? Your kid can learn this later, but right now you should also be learning this topic." I got back the usual response of, "Oh, I'm too busy nowadays and it's better that the kids learn all these new things." This is a response that I often hear from adults. When asked to learn something new, they have a variety of excuses. "I'm too busy" is the most popular one, obviously. And I wonder, what's the real reason? Are we so busy that we can't learn something new? Or are we actually scared to learn something new?
Welcome to Value, a podcast where gurus from Global Gyan Academy help you create competitive advantage in your career. Learn how you can win in the future of work and uniquely design your career from those who have succeeded and failed at doing so. Now, here's your host, Srinivasa Addepalli from Mumbai, India.
As you all know, learning is a huge theme for Global Gyan and for the Value podcast. And I have spoken about the need for learning and why people aren't learning several times on this podcast as well as in my other articles and posts in social media. But I don't want to sound as if I'm just complaining about this issue. Is there a solution? How do we get people to learn, and how do we get adults in particular who seem to have forgotten the joy of learning, how do we get them to learn? To discuss this, I'm very happy to have as a guest on the podcast my co-founder and colleague and friend Sameer Kanse, who I believe is a stupendous learner. And I have always seen him having a huge interest in learning and getting to new things. And one area which he has always impressed me in terms of his learning ability is how he remains extremely fit. I'm almost envious of his ability, and while he has been into fitness for a long time, but some of the things that he has done in the last few years have been extremely worthy of envy. Without me speaking any further on this, let's hear from Sameer about his own learning experiences. Let me begin first by welcoming Sameer, and let's go back to a little bit about your running history. You've gone for several marathons, and in particular the Leh Marathon was an interesting one. Just talk us about how you got into running marathons.
Running marathons, as most interesting things in life, either start over a tea or a beer. In my case, more often over beer than tea. And this goes back to about 2006 when we were celebrating something and Mumbai Marathon was coming in. And we were actually joking that who's stupid enough to, run 42 kilometers. And then the Mumbai Marathon came to the town and it was a bet over drinks. I said, it's very easy. At the paces that these guys run, I can definitely run, a full marathon. It was quite stupid. It was an arduous experience and an humbling experience. I remember I hobbled across, and hobbled is the right word, across the finish line. And after that, for 2 weeks, if you have seen Dil Chahta Hai, and what Saif Ali Khan experiences after having gone to Goa. That was my experience for whole 2 weeks. I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit, I couldn't do anything. And then pretty much for those 2 years after that, I gave it up. I said that this is stupid. I've done it once and that's it. I'm not doing it again. But then somehow in 2012, for various reasons, I picked up running again. And then since then I've been running. I've never been in those days I was not really a good runner. I aimed at finishing things. And yes, I did some marathons in Mumbai, but I had never done a full marathon. I had always done a half marathon. It was always 21 kilometers, apart from that stupid Mumbai one. And then someone told me that there is this world's toughest marathon or world's highest marathon, and it's tough because of the altitude. And I said, why not? Let's give it a try. And everyone said that you should have at least 5-6 marathons at human altitude levels before you go there. And that made it all the more challenging. I said, no, if I'm going to do it, I'll do the toughest one first. And so that's how the quest to do the Ladakh marathon started in about 2014. And then, the triathlon is another story we'll come to in a minute. But I've been running a lot, and the Ladakh marathon was again quite an humbling experience. I did it without a coach. My plan was since I knew how to run 21, my plan was to run 21 as fast as possible and get through it. And then we'll see for the remaining 21, how much longer can it take to run another 21. I had calculated even if I walked, run, I would still be able to finish it in a decent time. Again, a fairly stupid assumption. I finished my 21 in a record time because it was also downhill. And I miscalculated that what an uphill can do to you in a run, especially when you're completely spent and then you have nothing to look around, because for people who have gone to Ladakh, the landscape. It's barren. It's beautiful, but it's barren. So that was my fun experience of, having been in running. But before that, I've always been an athlete. I had the fortune of being in gymnastics and basketball and several other things that I learned and, kind of now left along the way.
But when you think about doing something new, as you said, often it might begin with a dare, with something that someone's asked you to do, or you're trying to prove to yourself. And that's a great place to start, because you don't know what you're getting into, and only something stupid sometimes can get you to learn something new. But let's maybe talk a bit about the even tougher challenge that you took up, which is to get into triathlon. Running a marathon is tough as it is, but a triathlon sounds 3 times as tough. So just tell us about, why did you get into a triathlon next?
Yeah. So, as I said, I had been running, but it was kind of getting boring. Not that I was doing great times, but I was doing the times, and the whole running scene was getting very crowded. You would go to a marathon and you would see people stopping and taking selfies and, making it into a whole fun event. And you were like, you are just one part of the fun event. And at some point in time, you started losing interest. Other thing that happened was, again, over beer in London, I still remember the day in the pub. A Britisher sitting with me said that, no, today I'm not drinking. And it's like an Indian saying, I won't have tea today, right? It never happens. Okay, it's a rare phenomena. And I said, why? He said, no, I have a triathlon. I have an Ironman coming up. And that's when I came to know what it was. And when I heard it, I said, that sounds interesting. And, I said I could do that. And he said, okay, boss. And he was in my team. He said, okay, I challenge you to do it. And so it again began over a stupid challenge. And, as is over a beer, you have a false bravado. And then later I came and said, oh yeah, I can cycle. I mean, I haven't cycled for a long time, but I can cycle. I used to love cycling. And I already got running. And how hard can it be to learn swimming? And then, you go and search on YouTube, on Google, and, how to swim. Because nowadays that's what we do, right? Whenever we want to learn something, when an idea comes to us, the first thing is that you go to Google and say, what are the means of learning this? How long is it going to take? Who will teach me? Blah, blah, blah. And on YouTube, there were all these courses or videos, and on Google saying, how to learn swimming in a week. And I said, okay, maybe not a week. Maybe I'll learn it in a month. But it looks easy. I read all the theory. I read about all the breathing techniques and all of that. And everyone kept saying, oh, it's easy. It's not tough to do. And so I said, okay, great. I have this under the belt. It was 2014 when I decided that I would do a triathlon. And it's 2020 or 2019 when I had my unsuccessful attempt of doing it. And it is all only because of the swimming. So it took me, I keep saying I've been trying to learn swimming for 6 years. I have managed to now, but that's how it all started. Again, over a kind of a bravado and false scenario.
So tell us about, how did you eventually and finally learn how to swim, and not just swim for obviously fun in a hotel pool or in your club. Swimming in the open ocean is, I'm assuming, because I have no idea what it is, I'm assuming is a completely different ball game. And in 2014 you didn't know swimming at all, right? So from not knowing swimming to being able to swim in the open ocean. How did you make that learning process happen? I know I have tried it myself, and after some time I gave it up. But how did you go through this process of learning?
So in fact, not only did I not know swimming, I had mortal fear of water. And to this day, even after I know swimming, I have this mortal fear of water, which my colleagues, kind of make fun of me that the Loch Ness monster may not be there in Scotland, but it's definitely there in my mind. Still have this mortal fear of water. So anything which was more than 3 feet, which means anything where my waist is inside water, was deep for me. So I started learning swimming as most people do, by looking at Google and looking at YouTube videos. And I say that I've been learning swimming for 5 years, because every year for a month in April or May in the summer camp, I would go to the swimming pool. I would go in and, get myself, horizontal, and that was about it. You spent about a week, 2 weeks, max a month, and you said, not happening. I will not going to go tomorrow. I'll come later. And so on and so forth. And then, it's raining, it's now water's too cold, I am busy, and, a year's gone, and again next summer comes, and, you start over all again. Now, I think what triggered the real learning of swimming was that when I did the Ladakh Marathon, I met this group of, equally mad people who said, triathlon sounds interesting, and hey, even I don't know swimming. And I said, there is someone like me who doesn't know swimming, and who still wants to do a triathlon, and who has gone through the same boat as me. So that's how we found a group, and we found out this coach in Mumbai. So that was the next good step. We realized that looking at YouTube videos and trying to self-learn something about which you have no clue is not going to help over here. You need a good coach. He found this coach, and the coach was in Kandivali. People who know the geography of Mumbai know it typically takes about 3 kilometers. It takes about an hour to travel 3 to 4 kilometers. And this was by itself about 14 to 15 kilometers away. And he used to coach at 6 a.m. in the morning. So we were leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning to go there. And there were days when you would think, why am I doing this? But I think the coach and the people who were with me helped me take the first step and stick to it. But I remember very well that this was November of 2018 when we started. We had already registered for the Ironman, by the way, without knowing swimming, saying that, you commit. Someone had told us, you first commit and then, things will flow through. So we did that. We paid a good amount of money. So we started in November, and, the whole of November, the whole of December, we were doing nothing but waddling in the pool. And it was almost April by when I had learned swimming, in the sense I could swim for about 25 meters odd. But there was no way that I could muster the confidence to do a full lap, which means 100 meters of going and coming, in a pool where my feet wouldn't touch. So I could swim still in a pool where my feet could touch, because you always knew that you have a safety of standing up if you wanted to. And by end of April, and we were all in the same boat, right? None of us could actually go beyond 50 meters. And we were supposed to swim 2 kilometers in the open ocean. Okay, for an Ironman. It's 1.8, but you drift and you'll end up swimming 2. By the end of April, we were all frustrated. We're saying that I have put in so much. I have done everything that is possible, but I am no way even close to being called a decent amateur. Forget the speeds. I'm not even able to do it. Okay, and I never have had such a miserable failure ever. Even when I started running in 6 months, I could run 10 kilometers. Right? Here, the progress was absolutely not there. And so by end of April, we went to the coach and said, look, this is not happening. I think it was a brave attempt by us and all of that. And so, thank you. The coach said, what do you mean thank you? It takes about 2 to 3 years to even become a decent swimmer. And you have not even spent 4 months. And then it struck us that we have to do this for at least 2-3 years to even be a decent level. But we said, we are not making any progress. He said, look, and that's when, he said, it's all about your mind. And now it is a famously known curve that when you start something, you are very excited, you see some progress, but then you go through this huge trough of disillusionment, because then you start realizing the real nuts and bolts of it. And you start realizing how much more there is to learn. And then it seems too big a mountain to cross. And you actually feel like I'm going the other way around now. I'm actually degenerating. I'm actually, going down rather than moving up. But if you come out of that, and we did come out of that, and one day we said, I am getting in, and we kept 2 lifeguards on hold and said, please watch us, but I am going to swim 400 meters non-stop today, however slow it is, whatever I have to do. And we did that. The two of us did it together. And we managed at 400 meters. And we were very happy that day. It was a world one. And from then on, of course, we kind of did that. But the whole thing did not stop there. It was only September when we had any confidence of being able to swim 2 kilometers non-stop. And now we figured out, we can now swim 2 kilometers non-stop. Now all that we have to do is swim in the ocean. And everyone again kept saying that it's easier to swim in the ocean than it is to swim in the pool. And the logic went that salt water is heavier, so you have more buoyancy. And we are all engineers and students of science, so we believed all of this, saying that yes, salt water is heavier, so you naturally float in water, you don't need to do anything. And we said, yes, that sounds scientific enough. So the first day, I remember we went to sea and we went to Khardanda, and in a boat we were told, jump in. And the fact that you were told to jump in to the water from the boat itself was daunting enough, because unlike a swimming pool, you don't see the bottom over here. And unlike the swimming pool, there is no wall to hold on to if you panic. And unlike the swimming pool, there are no other people around you, whom you can go and lunge on if something happens. So I jumped, exactly went 2 feet away from the boat, and I came back and held on to the boat. And my coach said, you know swimming. I said, yes, but I can't see anything. Where am I going? He said, you don't need to see anything. You keep swimming and it will be okay. So that day, all we did was go around the boat in circles and came back, always ensuring that the boat was hands hold distance away. But then we started, training, and in a couple of weeks, we were good enough to, I wouldn't say we were confident, but we were good enough to realize that yes, swimming in the ocean is easier. Of course, sighting is difficult. You don't know where you're going. So every few strokes, you need to come up and look at where you're going, to a boat or a buoy or something, and then keep moving. By October, I was fairly confident that I could do this, because in the open ocean, I had done 500 meters non-stop and, going and coming and all of that. And I was confident I could do it. So that was a journey. That's the long journey. And I would say people have been saying that I learned swimming in a year. I would say no, it took me almost 6 years of not learning it or trying to learn it to actually learn the swimming that I've learned today.
Wow, that's a really interesting journey. And it's actually just about a year for you to make the transition from I'm mortally scared of water to swimming in the open ocean. I think really the takeaway for me as I hear what you're saying is two things. One, the company of others who are equally motivated as you are to make that change from where you are to where you want to be. I think that's very important. So a lot of learning, many times we attempt it solo, and partly it may be because we're a little embarrassed sometimes that we're trying something. We should know swimming. Why will I let everyone else in the world know that I don't know swimming? How will I do it with others? But I think the interesting thing is that if you look around, you'll probably find many others who are in the same boat as you are and want to make the same change and therefore get the benefit of those people. And the second, of course, is that there's a lot of things and skills that need a coach. And even if it appears very easy from the outside and there are enough books and videos that have been created, courses like the ones that Global Gun creates. But the point is that hand-holding is often necessary to learn something totally new. And I think that's probably more true for adults. Children may be able to very naturally learn certain things, but adults probably need even more hand-holding than youngsters. Great. So we've now come to the point where you've gone into the Ironman. So tell us what happened at the Ironman.
Oh, it was the worst embarrassment of my life. I went in it. I remember till the night before, we were fully confident. They had these practice swims. And yes, I can go back and say that, the swim was tough. They had to move things around in November. And if you remember, in 2019, the rains continued for quite a long time than expected. Typically, rains stop in September end. That year they went on till almost start of October. And it was raining even on the day before it was raining, and people were doubting that whether the swim will happen. So in a triathlon, if it's really dangerous, it's swimming and the sea is really rough, they cancel the swim and replace it with a 6-kilometer run. And I was just hoping that they did that, because 6-kilometer run is nothing in front of a swim. But it was not to happen. They just changed the route and actually made a way. Looking back now, I can say it was a very easy route that they did. You swam almost for most of the distance where your feet could touch and all of that. But I jumped in, and night before I was a mess. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not going. I am not prepared for a swim. I will drown in the ocean and God knows what, right? So in spite of all the practice, you just land up and you feel embarrassed because, all your friends are there. There are people who had come all the way from Mumbai to just watch me. And you, more than the fear of you not being able to do it, the fear of the embarrassment of what all these people will think is high. And that's true, to the extent, Srini, what you said, why adults find it difficult to learn is they are not so concerned about whether I will learn it or not. They are more concerned about if I don't learn it and then everyone else asks me, oh, you had started learning this, what happened, right? You had attempted this, what happened? The fear of saying, no, I failed, or the fear of saying, I gave up, or I did not like it, or I'm not as good at it. Now, it doesn't matter whether the person who's asking you himself may have never attempted anything, he is not good at that sport or that thing that you are trying to learn, doesn't matter. The fact that you attempted it and you failed, somehow in your mind makes you feel that he is going to feel that, I am inadequate. That person doesn't think anything about it actually. He feels, oh, you tried, you did not do it. Okay, great. I have not even tried is what he's thinking in his mind. But our fear of embarrassment really kills us. And so that was my fear of embarrassment, which was there. Finally, they said, okay, the swim is happening. I went in and I started swimming and I kept saying, breathe, you can do this. You can swim for 2 kilometers. And the route here was only 950. So you had to go in 950 meters and come back to the land and then again do a 950 meter loop. So it was easier. I had to actually swim only half the distance. I went in, I started swimming, and then there was one guy around me who started shouting, help, okay? And trust me, when I stopped, my feet, I could just stand on the toes of my feet. So it was not a drowning water. But he started shouting, help, and that was it. In my mind, the same help alarm went buzzing, and the moment he saw that I stopped, he came and he hugged me, saying that was like two drunk men trying to stand, walk straight, okay? And the moment he hugged me, I suddenly started saying, I am going to drown. And then I realized for a brief second that no, my toes touch here, so I can't drown. But I thought that if I went in and somebody did this to me, what is going to happen? I can't do this. And I walked back. It's still a walk of shame for me that, and when I came out, all people said, what are you doing? Go in again. But once you give up, kind of, it was done. I never went back in. And yeah, that was something that I did not complete my first Ironman, and others did. My entire group did, and I'm very happy that they did. But I came back, and the next day I went to the swimming pool again, and that day I swam 4 kilometers. And I had it in me. The skills were there to swim 4 kilometers. It was, as I said, a Loch Ness monster in your brain, which prevented you from doing that. And again, the group helped because, they said, okay, no problem. We will attempt the next only swim event. So the next one was a Goa Simathon, which was to happen in March 2020. And so I started practicing for that. And this time, much more confident, much more knowing who you are and what your fears are. And more of sea swims than doing in the pool. To the extent where now I feel that swimming in the ocean is easier than swimming in the pool, because actually the buoyancy and the physics and all of that, they say, do help you. Unfortunately, that year, so March 2020, we obviously know the event got cancelled because of COVID. But they had a practice event which happened in Mumbai where they asked us to do a kilometer in the ocean. And I successfully did that. And you won't believe the people with me who had finished Ironman actually gave up in that event. Because later they told us that the conditions were very bad. There was a strong drift and current in one direction. And instead of doing 1 kilometer, I actually landed doing 1.6 kilometers because of the drift. But I was so happy I never realized all of this, because once I went inside the ocean and once I had reached the halfway mark, I said, okay, I've reached halfway. Now from here, either you're going back or you're sinking. So kind of I finished that. So I think it was interesting that people who did Ironman with me did not finish this one, which technically was much easier. Learning something is also, you should have a failure in your learning. If you kind of, keep succeeding at everything that you do and, take on the false bravado of, you will never learn. It is very important that you fail, because that failure teaches you that you have to, improve yourself. That failure also tells you don't have it might be luck. Sometimes it's luck and you kind of start treating it as either your fault or either your skill. So this failure teaches you to distinguish between the skill and luck. And even today, every time I enter the water, there is a small fear inside me, and that fear should be there when you start learning something new, or even when you're good at it. Because if fear is not there, then you will say, now I know this. No one can touch me in this, and then you will stop learning.
Yeah, I so agree with what you're saying, that sometimes failure, and early failure probably is a good slap in the face. I've written and talked about a slap in the face. And sometimes if we don't receive that slap in the face early on, we probably stop learning. And as you gave examples of those who probably stopped learning or didn't put as much effort in the subsequent 12 months as you did. So what next? What's the new learning agenda for you looking into 2021? What will you do differently next year?
Well, I continue my triathlon. I hope to still earn my proper Ironman title. But I am learning two things. I'm learning chess and I'm learning poker. Two quite unrelated, but I feel very related elements. Chess teaches you to think 4 moves ahead, but poker also teaches you that in chess, everything is known. All the pieces are on the table. All the moves are on the table. It's only your brain and you. But in poker, there is a huge element of luck. You play with the cards that you are dealt with. So I feel while both are related, both are quite unrelated. And so I started learning chess and poker both this year. So that's in the 2021, the aim is to learn chess and poker. And again, as I started learning chess, late in life, wrong side of 40. But so I have a lot of children who are with me, young children who are with me, who beat me hollow. And when they make a move, I feel like, oh shit, I should have got this. But the swimming experience, and that's the other thing about learning. Once you learn one thing in life, and having gone through the embarrassment and having gone through those failures, the next time you learn something, try to learn something, you have a kind of a roadmap or a framework for it, right? So I always remember when I'm starting to learn something, when I feel that this is a long mountain to climb, I always still remember that, look, you learned swimming, okay, so you can do this. So breathe and you will be able to do it. Two, I think it's very important that I have now realized that if I'm embarking on learning something new, I need to have a very strong reason why, okay. I meet so many people who tell me, I want to learn artificial intelligence, I want to learn IoT or whatever is the next buzzword there. And I ask them why. If you learned AI, what will you do? Do you know what will you do after that? If you don't know what you will do after learning that thing, trust me, most of the times you will give up because your reason to learn is not strong enough. And three, find company. Age doesn't matter of that company, but find a company who is of your own skill level. And the only reason is that there will be moments where you will feel like giving up. In learning anything new, you will always feel like giving up. And you will create reasons, right? I'm busy, I'm blah, 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 whatever, right? If you have the company of a similar skill level, you will help each other hold on, right? There will point in time when they want to give up and you will say, let's go along, and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's the roadmap which learning anything gives you, and you can keep learning everything as long as you have these three things.
Great. I couldn't have summarized it any better than you did, Samir. Thanks a lot for sharing your experiences. I think sharing sometimes our own learning experiences, whether they're failures or success, is equally important so that others hopefully get motivated to learn. We at Global Gyan are always here to help people learn. We bring many of the concepts and ideas that Samir just shared in terms of how to approach learning. And we have an exciting program coming up in Jan 2021. It's about how do you learn anything that you want to choose, and we will help you learn that in using a structured process, using some of the principles that Samir just shared. If you want free access to this program, the first 15 people who send us a message saying, I want to learn, and fill in the blank of what you want to learn. I want to learn dash in 2021. Send us a WhatsApp message. The numbers are in the show notes. The first 15 who send us this message will get free entry into this program.
This is not management. I believe it is anything that you can.
Oh yeah, this is not just Global Gyan stuff like strategy or leadership. It can be anything. You can say, I want to learn dash. It's an open statement. If you want to learn photography or you want to learn AI, it doesn't matter what it is. You must know why you want to learn it and what you want to learn. If you have that idea in mind, the first 15 will get a free entry to this program, and we look forward to meeting all of you in this learning journey. And let 2021 be a great learning experience for all of us. 2020, I know, has been, and let's make 2021 equally learning experience. Thank you again, Samir, for joining us on this episode, and wish you guys all the best, and till next time.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of Value. Make sure to visit our website globalgyan.in, where you can subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. You can also download the Global Gyan app to access additional content, learning and mentoring by the gurus at Global Gyan. Do tune in to our next episode.